Gonna take a little sip. Let's talk about Juggernaut now. All right, so Juggernaut, he is the tank of the Brotherhood of Evil team, sort of in the same mindset as Hulk for the Avengers team, but like if Hulk was good, Juggernaut's got a lot of really crazy stuff happening in his kit. In that brand new effect I sort of teased in the Pyro video, immunity, but we'll get to that when we get to immovable object. So Juggernaut's first skill. Oh, big thing to also keep in mind, Juggernaut is not a mutant. I did mess that up way back when I did a Juggernaut kit of what I'd like to see with Juggernaut. Do keep that in mind when you're putting him on teams. He's a mystic character, not a mutant. He's still Brotherhood, so he still synergizes with Magneto and all of them, but don't put him on a mutant team because he's not mutant. He's mystic because he has like some gem that gives him his power. So very important, like PSA, you know, not a mutant. So anyways, overwhelming blow. He'll attack the primary target for 290% damage, then he'll gain 1 charge. So this is similar to Storm in terms of the fact that he's stacking charge. You know, some characters have charge, like Wasp, Black Panther, Cable, where you just sort of gain it and that's it. You're either charged or you're not charged. Juggernaut is one of those characters like Storm where you're actually having stacks of charge and you want to build that up. So anyways, he gains 1 charge with his basic attack, and they can have up to a maximum of 4, and he'll gain ability energy, and this attack cannot be blocked. But do keep in mind, you need to upgrade this up in order to get that +1 charge, but like I said in the Pyro video, we're accounting for max level stuff here. Very good skill, very good damage for a tank, gaining the charge, which you'll see on that comes into his kit a little later on. Gaining ability energy, just very good skill right here. Next skill, immovable object. He'll gain taunt, plus defense up for 2 turns, plus immunity, plus death proof, plus 2 regenerate. So immunity is kind of interesting. I'll go over to the skills things. It's a little effects page so we can get an actual like 100% legitimate definition of it. And it's that additional negative effects cannot be applied to this character. So that's very interesting. A new effect, sort of the opposite of Pyros, where you when you attack an enemy right here for this disrupted, you know, then they can't have any more positive effects applied to them. For Juggernaut, you apply immunity to an ally, and then they cannot have more negative effects applied to them. So sort of a interesting, you know, good and bad, you know, the same effect but sort of doing opposite things. So anyways, very great taunt here, you know, and if Magneto is an ally, he gains taunt for 2 turns. So that's a very, oh my gosh, this taunt is the best taunt we have in the entire game. The only downside to it is it costs 7 energy to use. You can use this straight off the bat, but I don't see Juggernaut getting to use this again within the battle. He does gain ability energy with his basic attack, but I don't know. This is still a very hefty energy cost in order to get to use this, so that's sort of a little bit, it's crazy in terms of what it actually does, but sort of the where it's taking a lot of power, but then it's giving the amount of times. You know, that's sort of like the pros and the cons. Cons, you can't use it a lot, but when you do use it, it's kind of crazy. Plus, it's a 2-turn taunt, so just, oh my gosh, it's a very good taunt. Very scary. Now, Crushing Charge, another very scary skill on Juggernaut's kit. He'll attack the primary target and adjacent targets for 308% damage, plus your damage is increased by 80% per charge, and this attack cannot be blocked. So you just run straight through the enemies. Ridiculous amount of damage. You know, it's very easy to build up charges on Juggernaut, so without, you know, without much effort, you could build up, hold on, let's do some quick maths, 320, you know, roughly 700% damage on this skill. So that is just, for a tank to do 700% damage just to a bunch of enemies, it is crazy. This skill is incredible right here. Plus, he gets more charges than just from his basic attack. His passive right here, on turn, he'll gain charged, so he gets charges just from starting his turn and from using his basic attacks. But another thing to note is on spawn, he'll clear all but 1 stack of charge, so they don't carry over really from like battle to battle like Storms do. The 1 will carry over, but the rest will be cleared. And but if they do get cleared, they'll fill the speed bar by 40% for every single one cleared. So say you sort of end a match with 4 charges, the next match you go into, at least for raids, they carry over in raids, not like other modes. But in raids, when they carry over, you'll lose 3 stacks of charge, but then he'll get like max speed bar. I assume it won't go over. I assume it'll go to like 100%. You'll just lose that extra 20%. And then Juggernaut can just go straight off the bat, you know, use his taunt. So very great. And then Magneto, if he is an ally when an enemy attacks Juggernaut, they'll fill his speed bar by 20%. So it's sort of like Pyro's passive, but better. And then on top of that, he gets 5% max health, 10% resistance, and 1000% resistance against stun. So he really can't be stunned. Now, these last three things here, you do not need Magneto to gain. I believe those are just flat out for Juggernaut. And then, of course, you know, you don't have all this at base level, but it's relatively easy to get his passive up that high. So Juggernaut, an incredible tank. The only real weakness is his taunt, long cooldown, but he has very great damage, very great utility, and he's a super tanky character. His health is he has some good stats also, at least in my personal opinion. I think he has some really good stats. I'm not exactly a stat junkie, but just from what I've seen of him and what I've played with him, I feel like his stats are very good. And then he has this massive AoE with Crushing Charge. So Juggernaut is another character like Pyro, where it's just like, I think he doesn't necessarily do enough on his own to be like an S tier, but he's like a very high A tier character. And then if you're putting him with the Brotherhood, an S tier team again. So Juggernaut, another great character. I highly advise you earn him from this event. Try to get him up as high as you can. He will do wonders for you in your Mystic campaign. To put him with Thanos in the Mystic campaign, is Thanos Mystic? Actually, I take that back. Thanos might be Cosmic, so don't actually use him with Mystic. But Juggernaut's gonna be doing wonders for you with how great of a tank he is. So just two very good characters coming through in the Brotherhood class. And then in the next video, we'll be talking about Sabretooth, another character from the Brotherhood class I feel is very good. So with that being said, what do I know? I am just a 17-year-old. Signing off, guys.